Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you all are having a great day, wonderful week so far. Welcome, of course, to Midnight Hatter Live, the weekly variety show where we talk Gundam gaming and Gunpla. I'm your host, Stephen Bayless, aka Midnight Hatter, and joining me as always, the Gundam explainer, Blue Gamer. How are you? Adam Blue.
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, glad we're getting together again to dive into some more of this stuff again. Like a lot of times, I see the thumbnail and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing, and that was pretty cool. So
That's how he
I'm down.
decides whether he's gonna show up.
That's a good one.
No, honestly, it was kind of a bummer last week because we were working on the, like, Game Boy Advance
Yeah,
SP mod, and I was like, "Oh, man, this is something that I think Adam would get a kick out of."
it's a
Um,
completely video game thing,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, last week. That's right, because yeah, last week was my wife's birthday, and so we're doing stuff for that, and it was pretty
Happy
fun.
birthday, Mrs. Explained. Happy
Yeah,
belated.
exactly. And yeah, not this week. And I remember even our the guy at the gym was like, "You guys going out tonight?" It's like, "No, no, we're going back to our normal Wednesday,
Yeah.
normal hangout
I
Wednesday."
have a show to run on that.
Exactly, exactly. I have a show, people.
Well, you actually so today, the video that you dropped on Gundam Explained was a clip from
Yeah, from exactly. It is a clip from one of our shows, and so a couple inside secrets. One, that's something I've kinda had in the back pocket in case I had a week. Like, this week has been pretty crazy, so I was like, I didn't have time. I have a video, I'll do a little sneak peek that I'm working on, and I didn't wanna rush it.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
New Gundam, I didn't wanna rush it, so I was like, instead of do that, I'll yeah, the clip from, episode which I thought it was a fun segment to
Right,
also kind of
it's
poke
not like a clip. The that's a it's the full segment
yeah,
that we
but
did.
it's funny because part of it is, like, almost poking fun at IGN, even though I don't really seriously care, but also it's kinda fun, even though it's not like they had a bad they had a interesting take on, how to watch UC, so, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually surprised to see, um, It's a Gundam. There's been a lot of, like, political Gundam discourse going on Twitter, and It's a Gundam, of all people, said, like, "Oh, yeah, and, you could skip Double Zeta if you really want to," and then I think he recommended the Gundam movie trilogy instead of the
Mm,
series, and I thought that I was like, "Whoa, that's"
no,
No,
that's
I disagree,
well
I start episode 1
oh, yeah.
and you end at the end.
But I feel like that's a Gunpla builder first way of watching,
That's a good yeah, I could see that.
because Double Zeta has a lot of very interesting suits that aren't really accessible Gunpla,
Yeah, very
and
true. It's actually easier to get the unicorn version of many of those kits than it is to get the Double Zeta
yes,
one.
that's a really good way to put it, because I remember that's what I'd come across a lot, and also with the movie trilogy, they, changed that whole, some of the mechanics, specifically the
Yeah, you don't get the G Fighter and the
G-Fighter, yeah,
yeah, the
and
G
so I think
Bull.
there's that aspect where, oh, that's kinda not Gunpla-y. So you don't necessarily see that a whole lot. So,
That's true.
um, it's interesting. It's interesting.
But see, I'm in it for all of it,
Me
and I
too. It's a
so
world.
this week I dropped a video that again was a little clickbaity in the title
Oh,
because
yeah.
obviously the title of it is 10 Things I Hate About the Witch from Mercury, which, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that clicked onto it and they were like, "Oh, harumph." But honestly, I thought it was a pretty interesting, at least it was fascinating to me. So obviously if it was something fascinating to me, I'd love to share it. But, yeah, if you guys dig that type of in-depth analysis, it goes back to my old dissecting Gundam days.
Yeah.
I have scripts on scripts queued up to make videos like that, and I've been dying to push them out, but they do take a lot of work. So I was like, I'm not gonna do it if nobody else is interested.
No,
Um,
dude, so I told you before, like, I had totally missed that you posted this, so I cannot wait to watch it, but since we've been talking, I already been reading the comments and everything, and, like, and by seeing the views, like, this obviously is taken off.
I
So
think
I can't
so.
wait. I will watch it later tonight and,
Yeah.
yeah, continue that.
It's hilarious because my wife has actually tried to watch it twice, and, she falls asleep So she was like,
Valid.
"I swear it's interesting, it's just your voice is so soothing, it puts me to sleep," and I was
Oh,
like,
okay,
"Oh,
that's
yeah."
very good point, actually. Well,
Very
ooh,
clever little turn of
here's a cool question, like, not that you have to give the answer, but it was just funny because my wife and I were sitting on the couch earlier just talking, and we were like I was naming all the YouTubers she watches.
oh, yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, can you name mine?" And then she was and I the first thing she said was funny. It's like she's like, "The guy that talks about" I forget what it was, but it was obviously Joe Rogan. I'm like, "Everyone listens to Joe Rogan," but no, then she named, like, the other ones too. I thought that was pretty funny. So do you, like, know your wife's YouTubers? Does she know yours?
Well, my wife is not like a YouTube user. She is like strictly
Oh,
Netflix and Audible. So like I know
impressive.
and it drives her nuts because like every year I try to get her like an Audible subscriptions because she loves fiction. She loves particularly historical fiction. And so she's
That's cool.
constantly listening to books. And when she starts telling me the plot, I'm like, the dad did it. No, the kid's not dead, the kid's alive, he's gonna come back later in the book, like, she hates the fact that it takes me, like, 5 seconds of hearing parts of the plot to predict the ending.
D Is it where you're coming up with something she didn't think of, or is it like she knows, but she doesn't wanna spoil it for herself, or what do you think?
I think it's just, a lot of fiction these days relies on the same sort of tropes that we experience, and so, like,
Yeah.
there's admittedly, there's some interesting stuff that happens in these novels that she's listening to, and, she's trying to kind of tell me like, "Oh, it would be so cool if they made a movie of this one," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sure that they probably will, to be honest with you." But it's so, um, I don't know, and
You get
maybe I'm just jaded, like, but
no, no,
it's so
no, you're
predictable
making
for me.
sense, because I think when you're so into something, sometimes it's like you're taking it for what it is and enjoying it, and you don't need to be cynical or something, and it depends what it is, like, for me
Right.
with Gundam, I feel like it's respected itself so much that it's very easy for me to get over something that it's like, oh, like G-Quux. I don't really think about it. It hasn't bothered me. You know, so
It's like that Mad Men meme, it's like, "I don't think about you at all."
oh, yeah, that's funny.
Um No,
That's
that's
good.
cool. Yeah, I'm well, so your wife is a YouTube consumer, so you were able to predict, like, the channels and YouTubers that she
Well, yeah,
follows?
just because I would hear it, like
Yeah.
and sometimes I would watch them too, like, if we're on the couch or, like, I'll play the Switch or something and but or, yeah, like, upstairs, maybe yeah, sometimes we go to sleep, we'll put them on, and it used to be anime a lot, and it would
Mhm.
make me fall asleep, really easily, but I felt bad, and so I kinda just, yeah, let her choose her thing. Um, but you know what? We canceled most we canceled all the subscription services. So, like,
I really want to.
I think that's why YouTube is just kind of the main thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm,
And there's a lot of stuff that you can watch on YouTube, like, for free. I mean, for
yeah.
instance, the Shakespeare play that I reference in the video, you can actually watch the 1967 movie version of it on YouTube for free.
Oh, that's
The
cool.
Taming of the Shrew, it stars who? Elizabeth Taylor,
Mm.
Richard Burton. It actually has Michael York in it, and you might
Oh,
not
that's
know the
cool.
name Michael York, but I know that you guys know the character Basil Exposition from
Yep,
Austin
Austin Powers.
Powers, so
Yep, that's exactly all I know him from.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's pretty neat because I feel like with YouTube, especially if it's even a let's say a lower income house where they can't get Netflix, but they could watch YouTube. And the things that are free are usually the things that are in public domain or things that no one's making money off of. But it could
yeah,
be good entertainment that's more educational, and so it could be we get a generation of people kind of growing up where it's whatever they can find on YouTube, and sometimes it's educational and could be.
that's
Yeah, there's so
that's
much
a good point.
information out there. Anyone could go down that like there's no longer that, "Oh, I was raised in the '80s. I was raised in the '90s." It's you were raised online.
Yeah, we live in the age of accessibility. I think that if you can't find content, it's like a you problem because
Yeah, yeah.
even the stuff that should be inaccessible, like the stuff that is paywalled, you could find
You can find it.
it.
That's true, man.
But, speaking of things that cost a ton of money, if that's a good segue, I wanna share with you guys, the update to the Gundam Assemble website. This actually happened, like, a week and a half ago, but there's some cool announcements coming up here soon. Obviously, we knew that Gundam Assemble was coming out this year, but this weekend, on Valentine's Day, you can see the first demo is gonna be at the Bandai Card Game Festival in Las Vegas. So I am here to announce that I'm going to Vegas. No, I'm not going to
That'd be
Vegas,
awesome.
but I will be, following everything that just like because they did the same thing in Orlando. They had the Bandai Card Games Fest. They did a
Mm,
whole, announcement about Gundam Assemble there. This, honestly, I'm much more interested in than the Gundam card game, because
yeah.
miniatures. I love miniatures. So I will be, obviously following this pretty closely, and I'll probably make some videos about it when that drops. Interestingly enough, they don't have too much else on here. It's like, okay, details are going to be revealed on March 4th, and then of course the demo is going to be at in Las Vegas. This is just the same video that they had last year.
Mm,
But if we go to the products tab here, this is where it gets interesting because they've got 3 sort of product categories here. So you have the starter set, which comes with everything you'll need to play a 3-on-3 game, and so it doesn't really suggest, like, what units are gonna come with the 3-on-3. I see an Epion and a Wing Zero,
yeah,
but who knows if that's actually what's gonna be in the set. Then there's the deluxe set that looks like it's specific to, like, Gundam scenarios. Because obviously you've
yeah,
got the Zeong in there, you've got the RX-78. This looks like epic 5-on-5 battles, and it has
that's cool.
battleships involved with it. So, I think
Oh,
that's where you're gonna see that white base miniature that they kind of teased in
oh,
Orlando, which would be very
oh,
cool.
that is I didn't
And
even
then
realize that.
yeah, yeah, so there are gonna be
5
warships, and then
warship. Oh,
finally, you've got the expansion packs. I am sure that these are gonna be similar to, like, typical Warhammer. Honestly, it kinda reminds me of the old, Hero Scape booster packs that you could get that each of them was themed, and looking at this, man, I am excited to grab this little Witch from Mercury 3-pack. I hope it's a 3-pack where it comes with the
yeah,
Ferract, the Darabald, and the Ariel. Ariel's okay, but the
but
Darabald
the
and the
other ones are
Ferract,
exactly your thing. Yeah,
that's my
that's
thing,
cool.
If
Oh,
it
see
were the Ferract, the Darabald, and the Michaelis, then we'd be in business.
oh, yeah. But okay, I'm confused. From what we're seeing, the only figurines plus the stuff that already came out?
Yeah, so, I assume that there's gonna be seed sets like we saw
Right.
there, and of course the wing sets where it's like you've got the 'cause, in the card game sets, like, you had the Tall Geese and the
Mhm.
Leos, you had the Zakus,
So I
so
guess they're expecting it's like these are coming out soon, but they're kind of expecting, I guess, if you wanna do 5 on 5 to maybe also have the other stuff too. Like, I guess is
yeah, it sounds
which
like the deluxe set is gonna
yeah,
have at least 10 miniatures
wow,
so that
that
you
would
can
be
have.
awesome. Okay, because I guess yeah, that's what I was trying to get at in a long way
Yeah,
is because are they making it where you have to go hunt and collect these things? But if I can buy a deluxe set that actually has 10 because are
exactly.
they trying to also make it to where, hey, you buy this deluxe set, now everyone can just play? Like you
Right, that's the
yeah,
way it should be. I mean,
yeah,
that was how Heroscape was, like, back in the
okay,
day, my brothers and I, we got the Heroscape, like, master set, which came with it came with enough parts to make a huge map, and then, of course, you
huh,
had, like, a couple of units from every faction. So there was, like, a couple of heroic units and a couple of squads for each faction, in the set. But then if you wanted to build the army out, you had these little, like, booster packs that was like, "Oh, so you got the soldier and the Mossad agents in the main set, but then if you wanted to get, like, the paratroopers from World War II and have them as part of your team, then, like, that would be its own booster pack or, like, the
makes sense.
Roman Legion to pair up with your Roman general, like
So, I wonder, is this deluxe set then going to just be 0079 themed? Or are they you know what I mean? Because then it's like, okay, so that means there's gonna be a lot of UC stuff, which is cool for me, and is like this starter set all wing? Like
Yeah, I mean, with the way that they phrase it where it's like,
yeah,
okay, one of Gundam's renowned pilots in a scenario based on the original stories, that seems to suggest that at least in the deluxe set, if there's only one,
yeah,
then it has to be 0079, right?
right.
But maybe there's multiple deluxe sets where it's like you can get a Seed deluxe set that comes with Archangel and Dominion and or you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
so maybe that's the case, but I do think that each of those deluxe sets is gonna come with at least 10 miniatures, if not more. It would be cool if it was just like, here's all of 0079 and Seed in a deluxe set, and it's probably gonna be
Yeah.
like 150 bucks, but
No, that's cool, man. If I can get 10 miniatures, a battlefield, and some ships, that's a fun time.
oh, yeah.
I'm down with that.
So I'm excited to see where this goes, obviously, and, yeah, once we get some news from Las Vegas this weekend, I will, I'll be sharing it for sure. You know that I'm watching this stuff like a hawk.
Yeah, you are. I mean, really, I get my news from you. A lot of times I'm missing this stuff. But I wonder if they're doing any live streams for Vegas or anything.
They haven't announced any, which is strange,
Okay.
but, you know, they did do a good job of, like, Twitter coverage at the Orlando event. So it was
Oh,
like, you
yeah.
know, on Twitter, they had, like, constant updates going on,
You know,
and so
I think Twitter's a mistake. I don't think I don't think I I feel like companies default to like, "Oh, we have to post this on Twitter." I don't
yeah.
think you should anymore. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's just like you're just when you're using it's like a specific you're look Twitter only works for a very specific thing, and that's argumentative conversation back and forth.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? You can make announcements of things, but that's then all it becomes.
Right, it becomes like, it gets lost in the fold, and
So
honestly, even on Instagram, a lot of it gets lost in the fold because it's like,
yeah,
you know, especially if you're not doing stories on Instagram, then obviously the algorithm doesn't serve content to you in a timely manner. So it's like
right?
what's interesting is I started seeing the Bandai Samurai Troopers, Ronin Warriors. Come on. We're gonna go with the American
Oh,
name, Ronin Warriors.
that's cool. Yeah, that
They
is
announced
good.
like the model kits for them, and like I started seeing the later posts first because of whatever
Yep,
the
that
algorithm served them to me.
so here's what's interesting about that is I've noticed I will post stuff on the YouTube posts,
Mhm.
and I get more engagement, and it's usually way more chill. Like, people will just be like, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, I got that too."
Yeah.
Or, like, it's where I think it's because people are just chilling watching a YouTube video and then, "Oh, look at oh, you're saying this? Oh, here you go." Whereas Twitter, it's like you're seeking out it's like a dopamine. What's a conversation that can turn into an argument?
Yeah, for sure. There is a cultural difference though, because I find that like especially Japanese Gunpla builders love Twitter. They do not like Instagram. They are all about Twitter,
Oh.
and that's where I see like the best stuff. Like
Is
eh,
it is it, like, negative, like, in the West? Or because I actually don't know what Twitter's like in other countries, so I
I don't know. I think I got served up on some algorithm train where
Oh,
I get nothing but like Japanese builders on my Twitter, and I'm
yes.
like,
Okay,
whoa, you know, there's like
I
this
get that too. Yeah.
Gajimaru, who does, like, squads, is, like, his whole shtick is he does these, like, matte finish, high grade squads of units, and they're, like, all custom painted, so it's like he had, like, a squad of desert Ifrits that I thought was so
Oh,
fantastic,
cool.
and even in the comment, you know, I'd used the Grok translate, and it was like, "Oh, it makes me sad that there was only 8 of these because I would have loved to see a squad like this," you know, and I was like, "Dude,
Yeah.
agreed, like, absolutely," like,
Yeah, yeah, that's actually see, that's cool. That's some cool, like, building lore. But, I think there's another, Twitter guy, and I think you know him. He's building that giant white base.
oh, yeah, Colony Manufacturing.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. And
He's on Instagram as well, but it's
okay,
weird
maybe
because
that's
I always see his stuff on Twitter first, and
yeah.
then, like, a week
Yeah,
later, I get the same post on Instagram, so
that's interesting. Well, hey, the troubles of social media.
yeah, no kidding. But that's why we like to do it live here, where it's like, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
what's Hatter working on this week? I wish he'd just finished the thing he started last week.
What's the fun in that?
But yeah, so tonight, we've been working in Blender. I've been showing off some of like the AI workflow that I did for some of the mecha designs that we did. But honestly, I think that tonight what we're gonna do is a little bit closer to like an old school Blender character workflow.
Okay.
So let me hop into it here. You're gonna see I've got like my little blank Blender file here.
Yeah.
But I did do something ahead of the stream, is I put in my reference images and I stored them inside of a reference collection. And what I did
Mhm.
was I actually made it so that I can't select anything inside of that. And that's going to make sure that when we are editing that we don't accidentally like click one of the images and drag it off. But this was cool because I basically kind of designed a character off of, and it's gonna be cheesy, like, it's off of, like, a music video, and I was like, "Oh, this would be, like, kind of a cool character." Yes, we are going to, well, I don't know, we'll see. I was debating, like, so the main character of the story that I've been talking about, wasn't sure whether to make it male or female, maybe make it, like, so you can select a male or a female character to at the start. Maybe we just make the name sort of androgynous so that it can go either way. Kinda like, in Mass Effect where it's like, "Oh, Shepard," they just call you Shepard. Um, and
Yeah,
so
this reminds me of, like, the character creation. Like, games have the character creation, but then
yeah,
as the developer, artist, whatever your role is, it's like the ultimate, how are we locking this in, you know?
right,
Yeah.
I think that create your own characters, allow players to express themselves pretty well, but unfortunately, what that does is it kind of makes the story into something that's, um, like,
It does
interchangeable. It
disconnect
doesn't
you.
matter because like, the character doesn't have anything directly tying them to the world. It's kind of like a
Right.
superficial, way of anchoring them into the story. So here are my reference images. I have one from the front, from the back, from the sides.
Oh, that's cool.
It looks weird, obviously, when you see the the perspective
Yeah.
angle, but if we just take a look at the orthographic from the front, we have our female character in a frame, a pose, whatever you wanna call it, which is how most video games are doing it these days. It used to be you would do the T pose, right?
T-pose, yeah.
But what a lot of game developers were experiencing was that by creating the character with a fully extended, shoulder, you'd get a lot of warping when the arm fell back to a natural position. So instead, when you go from an A pose, it's not, like, all the way down so that then the armpit stretches when the character lifts
Yeah.
their arm, but it's not all the way up so that then the shoulder stretches when their arm goes down. This actually is, like, a lot more natural, a not natural position for the
That's
arm to be.
that is some amazing video game development lore that I didn't know. When do you think this started happening? By the time just things were getting a little more detailed, so then it was just kinda obvious? It's just kind of natural?
Yeah, I think the first character models that I saw that started using A poses were,
Mhm.
um, from, like, Metal Gear, like
Okay.
Metal Gear 5, actually
Okay.
Metal Gear 4 too, and, the Resident Evil 2 remake. So, like, they
Okay.
all use A poses. Um, and in fact, some of them actually use, like the elbows bent so that then, like, you don't have as much elbow distortion as their arms are moving. Because ultimately, like, all of these 3D mesh characters, they're being deformed by the bones of the animation rig. So it's like and I've done a video before about rigging robots and mecha, which you tend to weight them at 100% so that then, and you can actually even lock particular bones so that they don't move along certain axes. So, like, when I'm rigging a Gunpla or a Gundam in Blender, I
Mhm.
will usually have a bicep bone that specifically can only rotate along this axis. It can't rotate up, it can't rotate back, it only rotates side to side, and then the shoulder rotates up and down, but not like well, it can rotate up and down and then forward and backward, but not this way where
Oh,
it would
like a
like
butterfly joint.
yeah, exactly. So and so what that does is it creates that it basically is, it's that butterfly joint where this
Oh,
part
yeah.
moves and this
Yeah,
part moves, but, like, this part doesn't move.
right.
But
So,
yeah,
you know what's
interesting.
fascinating about this, though? This reminds me of, like, Masonic, sacred geometry. And
You know, I think that there probably is something about that in there that
just I mean, just it's almost those because if someone was to see this in the future, they wouldn't understand. Like, what if people forgot, like, when they're making a game to use an A pose? But the shape is informing the development decision.
right.
And that's
And
and so it's a very interesting thing that you would be able to if you knew that knowledge, you could pass that down, because I always keep thinking when
and these are the
I know
things
I'm
that
building
AI doesn't know.
yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, and I know I keep going off on this stuff, but, like, with the pyramids, how it's like we just lost what it meant or how to do it. And I think it's the same thing with video game development. Over time, there are, like, really key factors of how to foundationally develop a game that are lost over time.
100%. And what I think you find is, like, I watched a whole video the other day about recreating PS1 graphics. And
Yeah,
what was fascinating about it is that it wasn't so much like, "Oh, this is how they did things back then." It was literally limitations of the hardware.
yeah,
So, for instance, vertex snapping. The PS1 didn't have the ability to have float variables, meaning that a pixel had to be in a integer location, which means 1 or 2, not 1.5, not 1.375. Now, modern game engines, modern hardware can process a float variable as opposed to an integer. And so in order to create a game in Unity that looks like it would be on a PS1, you have to basically create a script that breaks the way that it's supposed to work and make it work the way that the old hardware did. Um,
yeah,
and so it's kind of interesting how that's like you said, it's not like a technique that was lost, it's like the physical hardware processes data differently than what we
right,
do now, and I think that that's why you see so many of these bloated games that it's like, "Oh, yeah,
yeah.
you know, you need 6,000 gigs of, free memory in order to download all of the, all of the
I'm just
DLC."
waiting, and I because, as much as I think AI is coming to do a lot of stuff, I still think there's going to be traditional things just with AI in it, and I really do think in the next year, there's gonna be a whole new game engine that's not like an AI game engine, it's just a game engine that uses AI. It will have a kind of a traditional way of using it, just modernize the tools, and I think that's gonna help games get better, where it's not gonna have the shader compilations, the large sizes.
I hope so. I saw that, I forgot what game it was, but I did see a YouTube video about, an online game that I think it was Monster Hunter, actually, that the game was running super slow because
Oh,
literally every frame, it was running a like, a ping on your account to determine
DLC
whether or
check.
not you had DLC installed.
Yeah. Isn't that
Dude,
crazy? And people that game, got bad reviews for a year due to those issues, and someone unrelated to Capcom found it out.
and again,
And
it's
then
because you've got game developers who are it's like, "Oh, well, we just use Unreal Engine," like,
yeah. And and the interesting thing too is, I think, like, they did an update, a patch not too long ago to fix it, but it's not I didn't hear if they addressed it, like, that the
it's like, at that
yeah.
point, the damage is done, isn't it?
Right, but at least it fixes it so people don't have to worry about it, but it's funny they didn't say anything or maybe I didn't hear that they acknowledged the dude that figured it out, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
It is nuts, man. I c like, again, I
I
couldn't
mean,
believe that.
yeah, I mean, you gotta agree with me. For a company as big as Capcom to have a bug like that in their game that's due to the monetary part of the game and not necessarily the game
Right.
itself.
We're not even talking about a gameplay feature, we're talking about, like, making sure that you paid us.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, man. crazy. But I I'm not too mad at Capcom because I think they're one of the greatest existing video game developer publishers right now.
They're
So,
one of the last good ones.
yeah.
It's tough because the bar is set so very low.
But y are you gonna play Rec Room at
Requiem.
all? The new Resident Evil?
Oh, I mean, if I can, I don't is it
'Cause
gonna be
yeah,
on
Switch. You have Switch and PS4.
I do, yeah.
Um,
I should be able to play it then, as long as it's on one of those. I didn't know if it was gonna be a PS5 exclusive, so,
yeah, I
you
don't
know.
know. I know Ultronymous is right now correcting me, but I can't see the screen for
Oh,
a few
uh,
seconds. Let me see.
let's see. Developer game, Monster Hunter Wilds. Yep, see, my second beef is that they don't do black characters right, but that's just me.
Okay, let
Um,
me see.
what is
Yeah.
CAC that everyone's talking about? CAC?
No, it's interesting. It will be on the Series S, but it's not gonna be on the PS4
Ah,
or the Switch. Well,
darn.
and I'm wondering too, do you like the newer Resident Evil games?
Yeah, yeah, I've been a big fan of them, for sure. So, let's see what we've got here. So, for those of you that, have been watching me work here, is like basically what I'm doing is using the character. Uh, I like to start from a sphere because then the back of the head is like really where it's going to be spherical, and then like we kind of shape the face off of just drawing it out and tracing.
Wow.
Um, but then, like, looking at it from the front, it looks like we probably need to squeeze the head in a little bit. So I'm kind of thinking we just scale a little bit on the X to make the head a little bit more bean shaped. And then we're gonna, obviously extrude out some ears, extrude out the jawline. Don't worry that the base of the neck is actually kind of up in her mouth here because what that is it's right here. So it's like we're gonna trace the jawline down and complete the
Wow,
face that way.
wow.
But this would be like a traditional workflow for modeling a character.
So no one
Uh,
can talk shit to you ever. You're proving here right now, "Look, guys, I've done it." Okay?
well, yeah, I've done the thing, and I still, I don't know. There's certain AI tools that make things go a little bit faster. There are certain ones that I think can actually cost you time and energy because if
Yep.
you're committed to using the AI tool over just doing it right, then and this is one of the reasons I'm doing it this way is because if I did run this through AI, and you know what? Look, I think do I have it here? I do. All right, so perfect. This is going to be a perfect example. I want to show you guys what AI was able to do with these images.
Okay.
This is
Hmm.
our character. Let me turn off X-ray mode. And do you see? Well, so I mean, facial features totally non-existent.
It's
Um,
got the Gundam chin.
it does have a Gundam chin. Looks like the Zeta, honestly. So there we
Yeah.
go.
Maybe
Um,
that's the character's name. Oh,
there we go, Zeta. Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. But
cool.
yeah, I mean, let's hop out of edit mode.
But were you trying to get at, like, that would almost take too much work to fix than just starting from scratch?
Yeah, I mean, to clean up the topology on
Yeah.
all of this and like because I mean, it's all broken up diamonds and things. It's not, yeah, it's just not a good look.
It's like
And
you might
then
as well start with a cube and just whittle it down.
exactly, like Michelangelo on the
Yeah,
statue of David.
there you go.
Um, Now it did create a texture, but the
Oh,
texture actually you'll see, like, on the legs here, it kind of broke a little bit
yeah.
because of where I merged some of the vertices, and so, like, it doesn't recognize that very well. So, like, for instance, if I select all, and let's just do mesh, we'll do our cleanup limited dissolve. What that does is it takes these sort of broad faces that are made up of um lots of little faces, and it just merges them together into one big face. So let's see, cleanup, limited dissolve, and like even then, it kind of stretched some of the arm
Mm,
topology here. Uh, yeah. I mean, would you
yeah.
play a video game if this was the character you were playing as?
It depends what the game was,
Maybe if it was, like, from this far out. If it was like The Sims, you could get away with this, but
or if you're an undead some, like, undead character, you know?
yeah, no kidding. Um, and honestly, because the clothing is on the character model like this, then you can't swap out clothing and do that sort of so, like, if we wanted to equip armor or something like that, we wouldn't be able to. So it's
Well,
better.
you made a
Oh,
good point, though, about small from a distance, that could be a good way if you needed to just get that done, you know, and it didn't really matter the level of detail. I can see
if
where
you're
that's worth
working for EA and you're trying to fill the stands in those sports
Yeah,
games, that's the
that's how
way to
you do
do
it.
it.
That's good. Good example.
Um So let's see. And again, I'm trying to keep this fairly low poly. I don't want to, have too many because we can always use modifiers to enhance the detail. We don't have to bake all of that detail into the raw geometry. But we basically just kind of want to follow the curvature of the character's face. What I'm trying to do is make sure that I'm matching up the number of vertices going down. So, like, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven is the bottom. So here we've got one, two, three. So then we can probably fit. Oh, I actually selected too many. I extruded a face instead of a vertice. Um, three, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, we have way too many details here that we're trying to bake in. And then we can join these together. So now we have an edge loop that goes all the way around her head here.
Okay.
And what we can do is then start to extrude this out across the sides of the face. So, like, we start here and we extrude on the X. Although honestly, it looks like we probably need to oh, I'm on edge select. Whoops. Let's tighten this down. Just trying to add a little bit of curvature to it as we're wrapping the face around. And then it's like, we don't want the we don't want the nose to be super wide, obviously. So we'll, like, taper that down from the front. Actually, come to think of it, we probably want to just taper that whole edge. We're going to bring it back a little bit because basically it's like, the character's face is going to come to a point at the very front, and then it's like
Oh, yeah.
each face that we extrude out, we're going to kind of bend it backwards until it wraps around. Um, and honestly, I forgot one of the most important steps here. Um, as
Mirror?
always, you got to use your mirror modifier so that we only have to do this once.
Nice.
X faces. Looks like I missed one there. I missed a couple up here. Then we'll add our mirror modifier. I like to turn on clipping so that it merges in the middle. Oops. But yeah, I mean, like, even here, it looks like this point. Maybe we need to actually. Oh, I see what the problem is here. We didn't actually join these two vertices. So we're going to hit F to join and then extrude on the X axis. They don't want to. Let me turn clipping off for just a second and extrude on the X axis. Now we are going to have to do a little vertice merging here so that those faces join up. And yeah, we're just going to start wrapping everything around.
Wow.
We do want her mouth to kind of curve like a mouth does.
Right.
Um, but, it's like you said, with certain angles and certain things, it's like, we don't necessarily wanna cut her cheeks in very harshly. We kind of wanna leave those a little bit more fluffed out. So it's,
Yeah.
case by case, we try to do this. And it looks like we have a couple of broken vertices here. We're just gonna merge those at last. Um, okay, now can we oh, this stinks. I'm gonna have to, like, manually select these now that they're not just free floating. They are part of the overall mesh. And then again, I'm trying to line it up with the existing lines because you do want it to kind of resemble a grid the best you can, and we're gonna go in and,
Oh,
like, carve the eyes out. But, we extrude X, extrude X. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Extrude X, extrude X. Now, she has a very wide face currently.
yeah, I noticed. But
But
you're,
no,
yeah, holding that back, right? Or whatever you call
exactly.
it.
We're just gonna pull it all back and just line by line, we are gonna kind of create the curvature of the face here. Um,
Which, yeah, I was reading something about, like, that is just a very common thing that people do in South Korea to themselves. It's very I don't know, it's kinda funny, but it's actually, where it's, like, super common and acceptable to
oh,
get complete facial reconstruction.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like that's an inevitable, like, Western thing, like, and yeah, and I
yeah.
feel like Korea is like a hyper Westernized sort of, and I could be wrong with everything I'm saying, but,
I mean,
um,
there's yeah, you're not wrong. I think that's the scariest part is like that there is this culture of beautification that's like unnatural.
yeah,
It
that's true.
reminds me of that Star Trek movie, Insurrection.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Particularly because it's like the whole the whole premise is that it's this race of people that's like obsessed with, plastic surgery, and they're trying to exploit a group of people for their ability to stay young, like, and
Yeah.
take that away from them. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember, yeah, that was the last Next Generation movie, wasn't it?
I think so.
Or wait a minute, no, that was Nemesis.
Oh yeah, Nemesis
Nemesis
with
was the last one. Insurrection,
Tom
yeah.
Hardy
No,
was second to last. Yeah,
yeah. No, but, yeah, I like those Next Generation movies.
yeah. I honestly
They're just kinda
don't
like
have
chill movies, like cool, chill movies. They don't offend you, they're not, like, insane, but they're,
no. Yeah, they're not overly preachy or anything like that. They're
yeah,
just like really compelling stories that happen to be in Star Trek. Um,
yeah.
Man,
Uh,
I kinda hate how this is turning out, to be honest with you.
and what is it exactly? Is it not,
It's just a
um
little bit difficult for me to get it where I'd like it to be, so what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take these faces out, and I'm gonna trace around the side first, because I think that that's gonna give me a better frame of reference for where the end of this has to be. Um, and again, this is probably something that I should have done from the beginning, but,
hey, we're all figuring it out.
yeah, it's been a while since I've engaged in this activity. Um, let's see. I'm gonna delete that vertice. So we like to come here to the front. We're gonna extrude downward. I'm actually not going to. I'm gonna sculpt the ears after we create the face, if that makes sense. So like I will start and stop at the end of the ears, but I'm not going to add them in the
Oh,
outline, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Um,
You didn't watch the Super Bowl, did you?
no, I honestly didn't. I don't know if I missed anything good. Was
Yeah, I
there,
didn't watch it either. They
what's that?
I didn't watch it either, but they posted a Mandalorian and Grogu, like,
Like a
I
teaser?
it's not and it wasn't even a teaser. It was it was them doing a riff on a Budweiser commercial from a long time ago, but who would know that?
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, and it didn't make me excited, I they even, did a press release or something to kind of, like, acknowledge that people didn't understand what was going on because it was just a short clip of the Mando and Grogu, like, on a 4 tauntaun, like, what do you call it, sleigh or something. Like, that's
Dashing
kinda
through the
funny,
snow.
but
I
there was
don't
no point to it.
Yeah.
It was
That's the thing that drives me nuts about, like, a lot of modern marketing is a lot of it's just, like, this sort of referential it's like
yeah,
member
like,
berries
using
type of
that
thing.
as the way to get someone into Star Wars, and it was like, "No, no, no, just Star Wars it. Just make it a Star Wars thing, and then people will like it."
Yeah, it's not that difficult to get people into Star Wars. They've been doing it since the '70s.
And I mean, it would like, if you wanted to do a referential thing, that would be awesome. Make it where it's a commercial about The Mandalorian and Boba Fett hanging out or something. Because then people are like, "Oh, shit, Boba Fett, yeah. Tamora Morrison." I don't know.
I mean, God forbid you make it a reference to something from Star Wars, like, I don't know, you
I
know?
know. It's funny how much, like, we will hate on companies that do that. It's usually properties that weren't as big as Star Wars, and then they'll do something later but have to reference. It's like, we're kinda wanting Star Wars to reference stuff, but, like, the way it was. It's like, "Come on, just."
Yeah, I mean, like, what would be an interesting like, was there I can't even think of, like, a Star Wars commercial from back in the day that would've, like
Yeah, I don't even remember either. Yeah, it was funny how I just kinda found Star Wars on my own when I was younger. Just I always remember that I was building Legos and I was, like, building ships, and I was like, "Man, that's awesome. Ships
Yeah.
battling. There's
If
gotta be a
only there
movie."
were ships that
Yeah.
like, in a
Only there were
movie.
ships battling. Um, yeah, that's kinda funny.
Uh,
But yeah,
uh,
other than that, I I I don't recall anything else. It was more I wasn't watching it either, but just, like, on YouTube or some people would post, like, react.
naturally, yeah. Everyone's always talking about and isn't it sad that that's, like, what the Super Bowl has become, is it's not even, like does anyone care about the sporting event anymore, or is it all about the marketing hype? Is it all about the ads and the you
Yeah,
know?
I think they're able to grab both audiences except for me. Anyway, no, really,
I'm
it's
immune to
interesting.
your marketing ploys.
Well, yeah. Well, because I mean, I don't know about you, but there are instances where I'm just around a bunch of guys that are, like, talking about sports teams and who got traded to who, and I'm like, I have no idea what I know you know that stuff to a degree, like soccer."
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I used to follow both soccer and football very closely,
Oh.
and, yeah, I'm not sure exactly when it changed where it was like, I'm not compelled by it anymore, but I am always fascinated by things like team composition and, like, personalities merging with one another on the field because it's like one of
Mm.
my favorite stories was, the, French national team soccer coach caught a whole lot of flack, one year because he didn't include a bunch of individual French players, and he was like, "I don't think you guys understand that I'm building the best team, not the best collection of individual players." And, sure enough,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't remember if that year they won, but they at least made the semifinals. And
I've
even I was
heard that
like, "Oh,
before.
man, I wish that my favorite French player had made the team," but, like, he was a known drama queen, so I was like,
Ah, yeah, no, that's a good point.
um So, yeah, it's not always about how well you do something, it's like, are you pleasant to enough to work with while you do it?
Yep, that is and especially, I think I was talking to my dad about this or someone recently about like a quarterback, and I don't normally care to pay attention, but it's like he doesn't need to be the strongest person, doesn't need to be the most fit athlete. It's more of like, yeah, you
Right.
might you have a powerful arm, but it's also the strategy and the hand-eye
Absolutely.
coordination, um,
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
really
famously, like, Tom Brady had, like, the worst physical appearance of anybody at, like, the NFL Combine, and I think what he was drafted in the 6th round, like, he was not a guy that and then he goes on to become one of the greatest of all time, like, if not
that's
the
cool.
greatest, not
Really? Because I
because of
remember
his
I heard his name a lot recently, but he, like, outperformed a lot of historical athletes?
Yeah, I think, he probably still has the most number of Super Bowls under his belt,
Damn, that's
and
cool.
hey, let's face it, the Patriots haven't won a Super Bowl without him, so or
Oh,
well, since.
wow. Yeah, that's man, I tell you, yeah, the sports stuff, I it's like it's fun to, like, play, but
Mhm,
I don't
yeah.
care to compete, and so I don't care to watch. But to play, sure, let's
Oh, yeah,
play a sport.
absolutely.
I yeah, and it's funny because there's those times where, like, I loved playing certain video game football games or certain video game golf games
Yeah.
or hockey. Like, there's those times where yeah, there was even a time where I was playing soccer. I remember it was, like, 2006, 2007, I forget, but I remember I was playing FIFA a lot,
Oh, nice.
but
That
just
was always
random.
fun playing FIFA with my brothers, my brother-in-law, my nephew,
Uh-huh.
because it was like 3 different skill sets. It was like because I watched soccer, I was familiar with all the teams, I knew what each individual player could do. So it was like
Mm,
when I passed the ball to a particular player, I was like, "Oh, I know he's fast as hell. He's gonna, like, I don't have to worry about somebody catching up to him." But then my brother-in-law was a very tactical person, so, like, he might not have known the players, like, by name and by team and all this stuff, but he knew, like, how to build a team that was successful. And then his
okay.
nephew, being, like, 11 years old, was just 100% fast twitch muscle fiber, and, you know, he would just crush us on the fact that, like, he could play the game better than any of our strategies could, like, you know?
That's cool. That's fun.
It just
Ah,
goes to show that, like, there's different ways to, skin a cat, and sometimes the most effective one is not the smartest one, it's the brute
yeah.
force method.
How long ago was this where you guys were getting together and playing?
Oof, man, so I guess, like, my nephew's in college now, so this would have been, like, 8 or
Mm.
9 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, there was this one game on Xbox called Death Row, and it was like a sporting
Yeah.
game. You remember and you would throw a disc, and you had to, like, get it into a net or something. That game was fun. It was Halo parties, and we'd play Death Row. I
Mhm.
mean, oh, man. That was yeah, that was a good sports one, but
But it's funny how, like, all even sports games come down to just, like, stats, it's like, like,
yeah, at the
it's
end of
the
the day
same as, like, building a mech game. It's no different, it's just
yeah. Um, yeah, and you're just you're finding out what the systems are, and then you're just gaming it, so it's like you could I mean, that's probably what was happening to me. My mind was seeing a system that I was playing, and it's not that I cared about the sport or anything. Like,
yeah.
the NFL 2K series just felt, to me, like, on Dreamcast, NFL 2K and all that felt good. Um,
And there's a reason that the gameplay on those games hasn't changed, like, in decades.
yeah,
It's like every
yeah,
year they just come out with the new patch for which it's interesting to me that now Overwatch has decided to go that route where it's like, "Oh, we're not gonna be Overwatch 2 anymore. We're just gonna be Overwatch the same way that Fortnite is just Fortnite, and, like, we're just gonna constantly come out with new seasons, new patches, and stuff." You might as well just have Madden and NBA
exactly.
2K or yeah, I mean, just NBA, and, like, every year you have to, buy in to get your
Well, I think you actually make a good point because I think it's only that kind of old school way that that and Call of Duty was sold that people are kinda trained to expect that and buy that. But I don't think you can do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I think like, it's kinda like what you're saying, it's a platform. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people are growing up where they're used to platforms. So, there's the
Mhm.
person that's gonna be on Fortnite, the person that's on Overwatch. They didn't go to Overwatch 2 because everyone was already on Overwatch.
Yeah, why would
So then
I migrate
yeah,
to?
yeah, Overwatch 2 had a okay, we're going back, just Overwatch. And I that proves another point too. I think that proves you can't just take a game that works and copy its genre and then make another one.
No.
Unless, like, specific situations, sure, but even a game its own game, Overwatch, couldn't it had to call Overwatch 2 Overwatch. Think about
It reminds me of the, like, what was that movie? The No Country for Old Men meme where it's like, "Oh, if the rule you followed brought you here, then of what use was the rule?" Like,
oh, I haven't seen that meme specifically, but
oh, yeah.
seen the movie, so good movie.
Um, but yeah, as you can see, this is starting to take shape a little bit better than it
Yeah, that
was
does look a lot
prior
better. It
to,
almost
like,
looks like, what, Prospera?
yeah, it's like a little helmet that we've got going on here.
That's the name, right?
Um,
Prospera Mercury? I
yeah.
don't remember. I
So yeah, we're just gonna kind of like build out the shape of this head and then we
yeah,
can start going in and doing some of the individual like, oh, we'll create the eye and all that good stuff. Um, but this is like how you kind of rough out the shape of a character before you do the before you do all the crazy stuff. I suppose I can do a quick and dirty, like if I scale it down a little bit, that might
oops, Char's helmet.
oops all shars. Um, and so, yeah, what I'm doing is like, obviously with each pass that I come down, I select the vertice of the corner of the face that I just created, and then I select the center where I did the trace of the face. I merge them together, and then that becomes like, the sort of anchoring point of of what we're building here. Um, and now it's just kind of like doing it by feel.
Old school, man.
Yeah. And again, this is probably even more high poly than I really should be doing, if we're being completely honest.
'Cause you were
Uh,
going for the PS1.
because I was going for that PS1 style, man, I'm telling you.
That's pretty good still, though.
I think we could probably still bring it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, and honestly, this is what a lot of modern games do is they have the LODs built in. So if you take like if you take a 3D model from like GBO2, you'll see that they have multiple levels of detail, 3 to be specific. And it's
Oh.
like the the basic model is like a block for the torso, a block for the pelvis, and like 3 blocks for each arm. And like so if you see a mobile suit from like rendered from a far distance, it's literally just blocks with texture on it, like, they
Oh, okay, I see.
and so there's a radius around your unit that determines which level of detail gets rendered, and so as it gets closer and if you're on, like, a really bad connection, you can actually see this happen in real time. You won't see it in a single player game, but, like, with GBO2 in particular, if you're on a really bad connection, it is in fact possible to see when it snaps from one level of detail to
Oh,
the next.
wow. That's
LOD stands for level of detail.
yeah,
Um, and so, yeah, it's just a way of saving compute
yeah.
power.
You know, it reminds me of when I first saw it in Halo 5, I think,
Oh,
where
really?
enemies in the distance, though, would be just lower frames. So, the
Interesting.
game's 60, and then in the distance, I'm seeing things move around almost like claymation, but it's because they did it that way. Probably
That's
both ways,
kind
actually,
of a
but
clever way of doing it. A
it
lot of,
just
like,
looked odd.
environments are billboarded, which billboarding is another way
Oh,
of, like, minimizing render distance, which literally it's like they will generate a 2D texture of the thing from far away so that,
yeah,
like so they do it with trees a lot and stuff like that.
that makes sense, yeah.
Oh my gosh, but look at that. We are, like, at time, and I haven't even finished, like, sculpting the head. I
Hey,
probably should have started with the body because that's a lot easier to work with, especially once you have, like, your reference images, you just kind of use, cubes and then, like, map out the body, but I'm gonna keep working on this, and we are going to have our female protagonist. Maybe we'll even break the mythical strong female lead, you know? I honestly, it seems to me like, female main characters are really popular in video games nowadays. But by the time this comes out, maybe the pendulum will have swung the other way and people wanna
right.
play as a guy, so I better just have them queued up.
Good idea.
Ah,
Mhm.
well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you, Adam, as always, for suffering through another one of these, Steven models in Blender streams. Hopefully you guys, learned a thing or 2 here, had a couple
Oh,
of
yeah.
laughs. We had definitely had some cool conversation. I like being able to, like, talk about games while we're making a game,
Yep.
but,
Big fan.
and yeah, if you haven't checked it out, definitely go watch the clip that,
Oh, yeah.
the segment that Adam posted today from last week, and yeah, stay tuned for that new Gundam video that you've got
Oh,
coming out here because I can't
can't
wait to
wait.
see the review on that,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
more
the other
recent
one
too.
that you mentioned off stream but didn't mention on stream, I'll keep
Oh,
that one a
yeah.
secret
That's
for the
right.
sake of being cryptic. And
I
if you
know.
haven't watched it yet, please go watch my video, 10 Things I Hate About the Witch from
Yes.
Mercury. Um, if you dig that kinda stuff, I've got plenty more in the tank, so I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Be sure to catch the Gundam Explained show tomorrow,
That's right.
and oh, and are we doing Gundam Explained in the morning or
That's right,
Free
I am.
Gamer? So
Yeah,
you've actually got
it's
2 Gundam Explained streams coming at you, 1 in the
tomorrow.
morning
Yeah.
and 1 in the evening, so
Yep. Yeah, come on by, it's fun.
heck yeah, man. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a good one.
See y'all.